Greetings, people. It's Mr. Paul the Trigger yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. So, this is part two of two, where we are connecting dots between the confession that was given by Godlove about what happens behind the scenes about this whole abduction syndicate. To those of you who do not know Godlove, I'm sure everybody knows Godlove by now. Godlove is the informer from Jeremiah Omoto's team, whom they used to come and trap Sister Ruth Matthew and me, to come and implicate me and Sister Ruth Matthew in a syndicate of blackmail, or when they tried to nullify the case of the missing child of baby testimony by using God's love to approach me and approach Sister Ruth Matthew, saying that he knows where baby testimony is. Of course, I know he does because he was working for Omoto's people and Omoto's team. So there are what ifs, big what ifs that I would want. I would do another episode of the what ifs. What if this? Okay, these what ifs are not for this episode, but I'll just bring them up for now so that you can be ready when I do the actual episode about this big what if. And this what if it's concerning God love. What if the actual plan of Jeremiah Omoto was of Jeremiah Omoto, God love, Precious Lungu, and the Cameroonian family? What if their big plan? Remember, God love wanted money from me. God love wanted 1.5 million from Sister Ruth Matthew as well, which he had said that he needs for transport to go and rescue baby testimony, where he's being kept by Omoto's people. What if the reason why he wanted this money was so that he can have some sort of a proof of payment? I once spoke about it, which they were going to justify when he will actually go to get this child. What if God love and the Cameroonian family were already together in this whole plan in Jeremiah Omoto? What if God love was actually going to succeed in going to get this boy? I can't say succeed in getting this boy because the parents knew about it. That father, that Andy Brown, he knew about this whole deal. What if what they were waiting for was for this money to be paid to God love so that it can be proof of payment? That proof of payment which could have held us in contractual terms, in agreement that we have agreed to do this. What if Godlove was actually going to go to Cameroon and extract this young man or get this young man, of course, with the approval of the parent, and actually bring the young man to Nigeria, and from then actually have a case to say, I actually went to go and get testimony. And the parents in Cameroon will now write a formal report to the authorities to say my son was kidnapped. And then once God's love brings the child to Nigeria, now we'll post the son and say, okay, this is the son of Sister Ruth Matthew. This is baby testimony. And then the Cameroonian father and Omoto's people will now have a big case to say Prophets and Ruth Matthew connived with God's love to go and kidnap a child from Cameroon. What if that was the main plan? The bigger picture of their entire plan of damage control. Because remember, the reason why they will do all this is to find a way that they can shut Ruth Matthew's mouth. They can find a way to crush this case of baby testimony. That's the idea behind all these damage controls. They just want this topic to be cancelled, to never be spoken about. They just want the name testimony to never be mentioned ever again, because they don't have answers to it. They don't have answers to the simple questions we are asking. Where's the CCTV footage that proves that Ruth Matthew did not come to Mercy City with 4 boys? They can't produce that CCTV footage, which can clear their name forever. They can't. You know why they can't? Because Precious Lungu is in that footage. And Precious Lungu is a daughter to Jeremiah Omoto. So they can't. So what would they rather do? They would rather invest millions into coming up with big damage control kind of plots and plans to crash and destroy this case of baby testimony. Do you think they can be paying all these TV stations? How many TV stations have they paid so far to just spread the narrative that the child is not missing? How many? Instead of them going that extra mile of paying, of doing all this propaganda, they can just release the CCTV footage. Simple. We won't argue further. The CCTV footage will tell the entire story of what happened. But they will not, because they know what we do not know. But we also know what they know now. that Precious Lungu is one of the ladies that took baby testimony from Sister Ruth Matthew, that tricked Sister Ruth Matthew. And Precious Lungu is a daughter to Jeremiah Omoto, which means Omoto is involved, which means Omoto played a role in this whole thing. And for them to bring out that CCTV footage can only bring Mercy City to shambles, can only bring the name of Omoto Fofane to ruins, can only take Omoto Fofane to prison, which is going to go either way. So the big plan was to actually release that boy and bring this boy to Ruth Matthew. And when the questions will be asked, Godlove was going to come and say, no, they paid me. Yes, the proof of payment. Ruth gave me this money. Prof X sent me this money. And they sent me money to go and abduct this child and use him as baby testimony so that we can take Jeremiah Omoto down. Do you see how Godlove was so confident? He's saying that he contracted me. Prof X contracted me to lie about this. Imagine what he was going to say after actually succeeding in going. After I would have sent him money and then he goes to get this child. You could have come and said, Prof X, I spoke to Prof X. He gave me this money to go and abduct this child so that we can use this child to nail Jeremiah Omoto. This is an episode that we will do an entire analysis about, but it's just what ifs. This is just to show you that these people have been doing this together. The Cameroonian family, Godlove, Omoto Fofane, Precious Lungu, it's an entire clique. They've been planning this whole thing. Remember, Precious Lungu is the first lady that came out to say the parents of this child are in Cameroon, and the parents of this child are going to come very soon to claim that prophets, why are you posting pictures of their child? How did Precious Lungu know that information? How did she know that? Are you people connecting the dots? Are you now seeing the bigger picture? And indeed, the family came out a few days ago and they said that exactly what Precious Lungu had said. It promised us that the parents will say. So they were in this together. Precious Lungu, the Cameroonian family, Jeremiah Omoto, and Godlove. Do you see the bigger picture right now? So the biggest what if that I was asking, the what ifs, I'll do another episode to actually explore further the entire plan behind the failed plan. So the purpose of this episode, I want us to go back a little bit to the confession of God's love. Most of you heard the first confession that Godlove gave me, that he told me about what happens to these children when they are abducted, when he was giving me an insight about the entire syndicate of these missing children. So I'll first play for you God's love confession, and then I'll play for you another video which I extracted from Chantel TV programs. Like I told you, people, you go and subscribe there, go share your opinions, go share your ideas and your contributions, and I'll come and extract some of the information and then I'll bring it here. So the comparison is very important, because one thing I want you people to remain focused on is the confession of God's love. That was not hearsay. God's love was not telling us stories. What God's love was telling us was the truth about what happens in these churches, about what happens to abducted kids. So listen to the first confession of God's love.
Cutting the long story short, there's a group of persons in Nigeria here. There are pastors in that group. There are other politicians in that group that they are using these innocent children for ritual powers. You know, it is not every ritual that they kill somebody. There are some rituals that they don't kill. So the ones that they are using on these young children in acquiring their powers is taking their glory. That is the young children that their glory, their star, their future is bright. They adopt those children. They have powers that identify such children wherever they are and do the adoption. So they keep these children in their own case study, provide everything that they can provide for the child. They don't kill the child. Do their ritual that they have already done on the child, and they are taking care of the child. As long as the child is living, that is how they are glory. And then again, the life now that they are living, the life they are living is the life of that child. That means, for example, if testimony was to live 100 years, therefore these people, the person who has taken the star of that child or the glory of that child will live that 100 years, even though he's an old person already. So when they take these children now, they distribute them. Some are in Ghana, some are in like this. They have their agents that they are keeping these children. And one of the conditions is that you can't use your own blood. You can't use your family. Because your family now, I will be on it. Questions will come out. So when they adopt these children now, they keep them wherever they are keeping, and they are taking care of the children, which they are already under a spell. And that spell is working on them while they are now using the powers and doing whatever thing they are doing. That is why you see in Nigeria, let's take for example this testimony issue. It is so bad, but even the government is not saying anything because some of the government officials are inside the same business. Do anything. They won't do anything because it is their own fellow member who has been. I hope you all understand me, Prof. X. I'm just cutting the long story short, though.
Now, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Because if you look at these politicians and these pastors, they barely die. They live for a very long time.
I'm working with them. Not that I was working with them. I'm working. Why I came back from where I am working is because of this testimony, something that I came out. I only took my excuse. They know to come to see my family. They used to give us permission to come out. So my own permission I took that I'm coming to see my family because I'm a father of 3. So those of us that we already have family, we have wife and children, they always give us permission so that we can come and see our family. But my intention was not coming to see my family. My intention was to come out and talk about this testimony, something that we are talking now like this. That's why I was demanding to talk with the mother so that I'll tell her what I know. It is also risky for me. Very, very risky.
I know.
We took an oath. The time that I decided that I would do this thing that I'm doing now, I started communicating with one man of God that he should be praying for me. Because the oath that we took, that we will not betray anything that we see or anything we hear. But right now I'm doing it because I believe that God cannot allow something to happen to me when I know that I'm speaking the truth. When I know that I'm talking on behalf of a child, which I also have a child in my house. I suffer to take care of them. What about another person's child? And I know the truth. Will God not punish me? It's better I don't know. If I know, fine. Or if I don't have the means to talk, fine. But now I have the means to talk, and I know that if I don't do it, what about my own child? What if it happens to my child tomorrow? Who will I blame? I'll start blaming myself because I knew of somebody's own. I didn't say anything. That is why I'm doing this thing. It's not for money. I don't want somebody's money. Somebody should not think that I'm doing it for ransom. No. I don't anything. I will take my risks as far as this child comes out so that other children will be free. There are children that I don't know them. I've not heard their story, but I've heard testimony on. It is testimony story now that will save all these other children and expose these people. They have divided them because if they keep them on one place, they will suspect. People will begin to talk. So they divide them. They have their agents, women and men that they carry. When they finish the ritual, they will give the children to them, make them rich, so that they will be taking care of the child the way they're supposed to be taking care. But that child does not have any future. The child does not have any life, nothing. If you look at testimony picture that I sent to you, look at the way they are taking good care of him. Because he is an empty vessel. They are doing all those care that they are taking care of him now is empty. If something is not being done to destroy the charm or the spell over him, or the ritual over him, he is empty. And they do it like that. It's not. They do it like that continuously. don't. I am working there. I am working. I see them. They are bringing in these children. We take care of them. I don't want to mention names. They are men of God. You, self, you, Prof. X, with all your wisdom, with all your intellectual that I see on social media, you speak like you are a prophet. You say things that people do not know that it is true. It is true. You are saying it as if you know it is true. But since you are not there, people are thinking that you are just talking. No, I'm watching you, your videos. All what you say, it is true. True. Those people you point finger at them, that you talk about them, it is true. It just that me, I can't talk. I can't be saying anything anyhow. I'm saying this because I swear to Ruth and you. It is only Ruth and you that have opened my mouth after all this year. Before testimony was being adopted, I have been working with these people as a cleaner. When they take us as a cleaner, but you render other services. They carry you go out. We even travel out. We go to all these various places that these children are. Because we are the one who know what is there. It can only be us that we can go there for anything, for any services, for any work, for anything, as far as the children are being concerned. And because they know that we are under oath, you can't say anything. You can't do anything.
So did you hear what Godlove said? This is inside information. The truth about what really happens to these kids that are being abducted. So when you try to piece the pieces together, when you try to join all this information together, when you try to connect all these dots with what recently happened, the 50 children that were abducted and found in the basement of a church, you come to realize that everything Godlove told us is aligning with the case of baby testimony. So how many kids are being swallowed at Mercy Seat at Omoto's shrine? But we've just not had a good lead that can lead us to where these kids are being kept. So I want you to listen to the other argument concerning this entire story of the testimony that was given by Godlove and this story of the 50 kids that were abducted by a Nigerian pastor. Go ahead and check it out and put 1 and 2 together.
That's God's love. Now their secret use time. Like, can just take on talk, come out. Oh, we never really pay attention to them. It's their secret. Oh, now you just can use now can turn the whole story around. Now can they call himself vampire? He knows something. That man knows something. God's love. He knows something, and he knows all the churches that all the churches that has basements that are keeping all these children. They should ask that God's love question very well. He knows something. He knows something that will lead us to testimony. He didn't just say all those things just for saying sake. He didn't just say them.
If you look at what that person wrote, the comments you read not long ago, the person that said something about God's love, that person made a very valid,
remarkable
opinion.
Yeah.
Very valid, very valid. Now, when you look at what God's love said, he said that there is a place where these children are kept. Many people may try to write that statement off, probably because of the level of damage control we've seen. But if you really want to get the truth out of all these statements, you put sentiment aside, you put emotions aside, then you will know where this guy has been coming from. God's love is not just a guy that is working on his own. God's love is someone that is carrying out instructions. God's love, I can tell you any day, anytime. God's love is carrying out instructions. Okay? He's not acting on his own.
That's true.
Now, look at what just happened in this particular video you just played. The pastor has been keeping these children in the basement of the church.
Hey.
The question is, how long have they been there? How long did this man keep those children there?
Mm-hmm.
Before now, pastors have resorted to selling of anointing oil, holy water, and the rest,
Now it's
which many
human
of
parts.
us have been complaining. I didn't be we knew, we would have just say, okay, more than continue to they sell anointing oil, more than they said, what did they call it? Anointing water, be holy water. I didn't be we knew, we would have just said, okay, keep doing this thing you're doing. But now they have resorted to selling children, because for you to keep 50 children at a time, it means you have kidnapped only God knows how many. Only God knows how many you have killed.
Can you
Only
imagine?
God knows how many you have sold. These are people's children, for crying out loud. Anybody that still thinks, man, that the GO is sent from God, that person is demonic. After all we are still seeing, I'm not saying you shouldn't serve God. I'm not saying you should not go to church. But look beyond your daddy GO. Look beyond your pastor.
We dey sit down.
Look beyond these people. How can you wait? Let's look at it from this angle. For you to have 50 children once, for you to have 50 children once, only God knows how many you have taken from their parents.
Be sold self.
This is a
Before they
pastor,
come see 50.
a man that stands on the pulpit and say, "Can I prophesy?" A man, don't forget, don't be surprised if this man is a philanthropist.
It's possible.
After,
They are like that.
after selling these children, he will become a billionaire. From the same money, he will be giving alms to the same people he stole their children.
And be consoling them.
He will
Don't
be giving
worry.
money, buying cars for the same people he stole their children. Wickedness starts from the church.
Yes,
Wickedness starts from the church.
You can say that
So
again and again.
it is time for people to realize that it is between them and God. They should leave their pastors out of the way. Let them look up to Jesus. Don't look at your pastor as a demigod. Don't look at your pastor as one spiritual man. Please, these people are killing
Buying
us.
private jets with your money.
These people are killing us. Every time we point accusing fingers. Every time we point accusing fingers on the government did not do this, the government did not do that. If I tell you the damages that some of our pastors have caused. Now, how many times has the government, I know the government, they own their body, I know, but how many times have you seen the government kidnap 50 children once? Tell me. What the offenses I know that the government normally cause is negligence. But tell me, has this present administration kidnapped 50 children once? The answer is no. This is the first time since I was born. This is the first time that I've heard that 50 children were kidnapped once by a pastor. And the children were kept in the basement of the church. That church should be
all of them
down.
Go and worship.
They should not close that church. They should burn that church down. Somebody may say, how are you saying that they should burn a church? Let me tell you, God does not live in the church. They should burn that church down. That church does not deserve to stay alive. They should burn that church. Nobody should attend that church anymore. They should burn the church down. What nonsense is this?
Jesus.
So after all has been said and done, I hope you're now seeing the bigger picture. I hope you're connecting the dots, and I hope the dots are connecting. That we are in trouble. People, you are in trouble. Your kids are at risk. Your kids are at risk. If we don't fight this and put an end to it, who's going to do it? This is the only opportunity. The revolution has to start now. It has to start today. We can't wait for tomorrow. We can't wait for the year to come. We can't afford to miss this opportunity by utilizing it at this particular moment in time when things are coming out on the surface like this, when they are exposing themselves like this. This is the only time to set our people free. If we don't do it right this one time, we might never be able to come back again and address these issues. We only need this one chance, and one chance is good, is enough if we do it right. There are some of you who are still in denial. There are some of you who are still having second thoughts that, oh, it might not be, oh, maybe. People, there is more happening in these shrines than you can ever imagine. More happening. This time to fight for our people, fight for our kids, for the future of the unborn generations. Let's not allow them to come in a damaged world like this. Let's create a better church, a new church, which respects humanity, a new church which preaches the true gospel, which cares for the people. These churches are swallowing and kidnapping kids. If they can do this to kids, what more are they doing? That's the biggest question. We have so many cases of kids missing in Nigeria. Where are they going? Who's taking them? It's now easier. There's churches, there are institutions which are not monitored, which no one can ever suspect. That's churches. So they can keep those kids for years there. They can take them, remember, these kids were only being kept there temporarily. They were supposed to be moved somewhere. Where? And for how long has he been doing this? Where are they selling them? They're definitely selling them somewhere. Organ harvesting or for rituals? That's the big question that we all have now. What are they using these kids for? These are human beings, people. What are they using them for? This is sad. It's so, so sad. But God is in it. God is surely in it. So till I meet you again on the next episode of the Enlightenment series, it's Mr. Pull the Trigger. I'm out.